Hey guys, it's me, EODGamerZ here. In this video, I want to share with you how to build Miyabi properly so you can do the maximum amount of damage possible. Now, let's first things first start off with the sets because this takes a longer period of time to farm, so I want to give you the advantage. Right now, this is filmed on 1.3. The main set that is coming out 1.4, this is the 4-piece over here that is way better for her. I highly recommend you use a 4-piece of this set. It's very strong. As you can see, it gives you a lot of crit damage. It even gives you like crit rate as well. As you can tell, she's a hybrid of both crit as well as anomaly, doing damage in both sense, which means, and that brings us to the main stat focus. Naturally, you want to go for position 6 with attack percentage. Very good, benefits both forms of damage for her very well, and she scales off of it super well. For position 4, you want to go for crit rate for most people, especially if you don't have a lot of sources of crit rate, you don't overcap on crit yet. You want to go as much crit rate as you can on her. Unfortunately, of course, W engines, we don't have too many that scales with crit rate for the anomaly class, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. For slot number 5, on the other hand, this is when your first choice actually needs to be done based on the characters that you have on your account. If you have lighter or you have some sort of ice damage buffing already in your kit, then you don't need too much ice damage, you can consider going attack percentage. But for most people, I think ice damage bonus is going to be a lot simpler and the more straightforward build to run. So summary, attack percentage, ice, as well as crit rate is going to get you by for majority of people, unless the exceptions exist. So if you are thinking about what's the other 2-piece than EOD, you already talked about the 4-piece, which is really good for her. For the 2-piece, if you are not overcapping on crit rate and you want to try to push as high as you can, and in fact, I'll recommend you go closer towards 100%, especially if you do not have any like buffs. But don't forget the 4-piece of the new set does give you a bit of crit rate as well. So my recommendation, if you're already hitting somewhere around like 80%, you'll get 80% quite comfortably, go for ice damage bonus. This will help you out a lot more. If you are not at 80%, you want to boost that up, then consider getting Woodpecker Electro. But with the 4-piece of the new set, it's really very easy to hit at 80%. You just need like a couple of rolls here or there in crit. Once the game launches, you can like start pulling it, especially if you have a W engine that gives you crit, which we'll talk about in a bit. So we talked about the 4-piece, we talked about 2-piece, main stats. What are the substats that I'll be focusing on? Substats that are really good is, number 1 priority is crit rate. Crit rate is the top priority. Second is crit damage, because if she already has very high crit rate, you want to maximize that amount by giving crit damage. And the rest of it, attack percentage. Anomaly proficiency matters very little to her. All she just cares about is just proccing the anomaly effect, and then everything else is like attack percentage damage. So that's really nice too. That is for the relics that I'm considering, or at least the drive disc. Now let's talk about the next one, which I think is really interesting, and that is going to be the W engines. What are you going to use, especially if you don't have resources to pull her signature? I know straightforward is like, just use her signature, is going to give you everything that she needs, which is really true. I think this character is a character that the difference between her signature as well as non-signatures are the widest out of all of them, because she does want a lot of crit rate. And if you see in the anomaly gear over here, nothing gives you crit rate. There's nothing else that gives you crit rate. My ranking order, if you want to stay in anomaly to get as much stats as you can, Fusion Compiler is going to be the best because it gives you a lot of attack percentage, gives you pen ratio as well, some attack percentage here in the subs, which is really great. So it's a massive stat stick. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you too much crit. Other than that, the other 2 choices in the anomaly class is going to be Roaring Right, which gives you good amounts of attack, higher base attack than the free-to-play Weeping Gemini, and at least you get some sort of buff here, either attacking, attack buff, anomaly proficiency buff, or build-up rate buff and stuff like that. Other than that, you have Weeping Gemini, which is in the 3rd pick for this category, which gives you attack percentage, attack, which is decent, and some other buffs that is nice to have, not super critical of anomaly proficiency buff. But the main thing is that, similar with Caesar, we can actually look in the attack gear category, because if you're just looking for crit, there are quite a few things that give you good amounts of crit. So if you are looking, for example, for a gear like this one, the steel cushion, if you manage to pull it, attack percentage, crit rate is all you need. You don't even need to proc the additional ability. This is the main stats, the one that matters the most. So I'll actually consider like just slapping for example, like steel cushion if you have it. If you don't have anything else and you just need attack gear, attack percentage gear, you can consider getting the brimstone as well. For those of you who don't know, if you are using an anomaly character, anything below is blanked out. Base stat and advanced stat still remains. That's why we can look in the attack category. Other than that, of course, Deep Sea Visitor is great. So if any of you put for Ellen and you are looking to move and migrate your Ellen on, this is also decent. Gives you good amounts of base attack, gives you good amounts of crit for her as well, which she scales off with. Other than that, some other free-to-play stuff that you might have perhaps would be your cannon rotor. If you pick this one up, this gives you a decent amount of crit rate as well. It's like 4% less than the other options, so it is quite a lot with good amounts of base attack to save yourself some money. But her signature is really way much stronger. But I know that you guys are watching this section probably because you don't have her signature, or maybe you're sitting on the fence. I'll do another video later on to talk about whether her signature is worth it. But in long story short, I definitely do think this is one of the characters with very little options outside, unless you look in the attack category as we mentioned. So now W engine's done. Let's talk about Bangboos, right? You also want to like know exactly what Bangboo to pick, what is the better ones for her. Out of all of them that I think of, the most important one that I think is the most useful is going to be anything that gives you a bit more utility. So stuff like this one, the Butler, which gives you a lot of energy regen in his overall kit. This is excellent as well. You can slap this on as a very generic build to help you get more of her energy so she can build more stacks up quicker. She wants a lot of energy. If you can funnel that into her, really great. Normally other ones you can do, but you are probably going to care more about like proccing your teammates anomaly. So those anomaly build up ones that you have, for example, like maybe fire anomaly and whatever not. All these kind of stuff is based on if your team composition has those characters, then you can swap that in to help you proc more disorders for Miyabi as well. The generic recommendation that I recommend most people is going to be Butler. Section 6 Bangboo is of course really good, but you do need 2 or more of the particular Section 6. So if you're not running Yanagi, you're not running, for example, like Sokaku in the same team, then probably you're much better off using a generic one, for example, like Butler, and that would be my recommendations for Bangboos as well. As for team compositions, for those of you who didn't check out our video on the team comms guide as well, I totally understand. I'll give you a quick summary of recommendations. The best character that works the best with her is going to be Yanagi because she is able to do a lot of things for her. She is the same faction to proc her additional ability. She's also going to give you a lot of disorders, which helps her get a lot more stacks as well. She's going to help you increase disorder damage and also proc other bursty kind of damage on the field as a sub DPS. Really fantastic. Adds in the electric to the element as well. This is probably top pick. For other limited characters that are really great, Lighter is also really strong. Lighter increases ice damage bonus. You can't really go wrong if you pick either Yanagi or Lighter. Both of them are really good. But Lighter's team composition revolves generally around forcing you to play with a character like Lucy because of the proc that Miyabi can only get her additional ability with support characters or same faction. So that's when Lighter comes in. So the team composition is a bit more restrictive. You do need Lucy and Lighter to be on the same team for Miyabi to work. Other than that, in terms of the other categories, the other limited characters, units that work quite well is like Bernice for additional disorder damage, some off-field damage so your Miyabi can stay on-field. And at the same time, Caesar is also quite interesting to play because she gives you generic attack buffs for your overall team, gives you some protection as well. If you want more combinations of team characters, who else can work? You don't have these characters and you want to know whether any other character is good, check out that video on the team compositions guide. We go into more breakdown of the different ones. And if you found this video helpful, do like, comment and subscribe. I'll be releasing a mechanics guide shortly to teach you exactly how to perform her to her fullest potential. At the same time, check out our teams video and Harumasa videos which are coming up soon on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video.